Welcome everybody to Life on Track, the TV series and the podcast. It's all about helping you get into the driver's seat of your own life. Not my life, not Dr. Andrea's life, your own life. And it's not about going back on track. It's about getting on the track you were born into this world to be on. Everybody's got their own God-given gifts, So let me tell you how the show first started. As most of you know, the book Work Love came out. I'm so proud of this book. Came out in June of 2021, went #1 bestseller right away. And I really believe it's based on the principles that I wrote about in this book regarding team playing and love and respect in the workplace, which is so needed these days, especially for the female entrepreneur, which I'm on fire to just empower the female entrepreneur. And also with the principles in this book, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill, based on his 13 principles in that book, which is a strategy for life that, if everybody listening, go run and buy that book. It's a game changer. Excuse me. I read it in the 90s and I've been studying it ever since. And it's just, anytime I hit a valley in life, that the principles in that book is really what got me back on track again. So it's an amazing book. And again, the principles in Work Love and Think and Grow Rich is what this show is all about. So let me bring on Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller. I'm going to read your bio because I don't want to leave anything out. You are extraordinary. All right. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller, the Dream Maker, is an international award-winning publicist and sponsorship acquisitionist who manifests your dreams bigger than you ever dared to dream possible. Just imagine how your life is positively affected when your right message, services, and products are known to the world. A whirlwind of energy, she has shared the stage with outstanding leaders like Anthony Hopkins, Jack Canfield, Stedman Graham, Les Brown, Sharon Lechter, Brian Tracy, and more. She appeared on 2020, CNN, E! News, and more. She has the authority, credibility, and connections to put you in the limelight, create JVs, set up partnerships, and acquire funding. She also assists with the mindset and limiting belief removal, as she holds 3 PhDs and certifications as a Master's Neurolinguistic Practitioner, Master Hypnotherapist, Biofeedback Practitioner, and Neurofeedback Practitioner, as well as a dozen other modalities. She lives on a 50-acre Ohio home with her husband, Tom. She is mom to 3 adult daughters, Destiny, Devaney, and Demea. I hope I got that right. Okay.
Demaya. We'll give her credit, Demaya.
Oh, thank you. And she loves being Lama to Mavis 5 and Warren 2. To book her for your stage, workshop, radio show, podcast, or blog, contact her at www.theredcarpetconnection.com or email Andrea Adams-Miller at theredcarpetconnection.com or text 419-722-6931. And we're going to get all of that out to the audience at the end of the show as well. Welcome, Dr. Andrea. Welcome to Life on Track.
Well, thank you, Erin. I'm so excited to be here with you. I love my time with you always.
I love my time with you too. You are truly extraordinary. And it's amazing what you get done in a day. And it's amazing that you're so high vibe, Andrea, or Dr. Andrea, that I just love being around you. Your energy is so beautiful.
Thank you very much.
The first question that I ask every expert, and it's been for years, is how did you get into doing what you're doing and why?
Well, it's been a loop around. Who would have ever realized that I didn't know until recently that I was raised to be a publicist, but didn't know it until later in life. So I started out life as a only child, a lonely child. There was nobody else around, and our house was dysfunctional. When it was great, it was really great, and when it was not great, it was really not great. And my dad, I always had to live on this line. Like I never knew when the line would be crossed and he would go from wonderful to not wonderful. And so I learned always to be looking for cues and, looking and scanning for what could drop any moment and how to keep things in that high energy. And I found that by volunteering, it allowed me to be with people because I was an only child and bored and by myself. And I found that if I excelled in school, my teachers would do special things for me. So hence the 3 PhDs come along, that desire to overachieve and to always learn more. And literally the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And now I want to study quantum physics. I mean, talk about like crazy stuff people want to do. But I went into law enforcement, Erin, after finding that volunteering and all of that helped. I realized that servitude to others was important to me. And who would have thought that being in law enforcement would lead to this. But what happened then is here I am in law enforcement. I leave law enforcement because I had 4 different police chiefs in 3 years. That's a lot of brass turnover. So I left to study psychology. I wanted to be like a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And during my classes, I was non-traditional student with, younger people in my classes. My teacher and I got along for my sexual health class, and she invited me to go to these scientific conferences with her. And I found I had a really great knack to be able to talk about really difficult, usually controversial subjects with people in a comfortable way. I worked with all men, both at a jail setting when I was a corrections officer, and then in law enforcement as a 911 dispatcher. I was a certified police officer, but I was a dispatcher. And I was comforted in that. So I created a business. It was originally called The Sexuality Tutor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I talked about sex and intimacy. And then later in my life, I changed it to Ignite Your Relationships as I was doing other things, because I realized it wasn't just about sex and sexuality. People's lives were having other things going on. But I got myself on television. I was on 2020 and CNN and E! News and like all this stuff, to over like 2,500 radio shows. And this is the early 90s. And, it was going really, really well. And after that, people kept saying at conferences, they'd go, "Oh, wait a minute. If you've done all of that, could you help me?" I'm like, sure. And the Red Carpet Connection was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the transition from that to publicity?
Well, so the fact that I'd gotten myself on all of these things, I live in a small city. I live in Findlay, Ohio, 43,000 people. Okay. Super small city. And yet I got all this national press, good press too. It wasn't like I had to do a scandal or anything in order to be on television. In fact, I got preempted several times for, Monica Lewinsky business and preempted for priests molesting children, so here was my clean show. I had to wait. I got 4 times. But when people started saying, wait a minute, you got the press for yourself. Could you do that for me? That's when I went from being a relationship consultant to being a publicity consultant and helping other people get their messages seen and heard. But then, now that I'm here, I realize that because of what how I lived with my parents, and my parents they used to run road races. One year, my mom ran 53 of them. So on Friday night, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, maybe, we were driving all over town, going to races. I was responsible for helping figure out where we were going, where are we parking, figuring out the roadmap to get there, where do we eat, getting the race packet, pinning it on, where's the 1 mile stop, where do I pick up their clothes, what time's the award ceremony. So my whole life I was primed to literally be a publicist, and even more than publicity, but the publicist that goes with you to an event and manages your whole life around you so that you show up the way you need to, and then wrap into that law enforcement. And now you got a bodyguard and a publicist. Right. So that's that. So I'm really, now that I realize that, I'm just doing my childhood all over again.
It's amazing on your terms.
Yeah.
On your terms.
On my terms this time. Yeah.
Yes. And happily. And everything that you do is with a smile. I mean, I've seen you personally at events, and you're extraordinary with how you run your business and how you make people feel. You're great at what you do, Andrea. Really great at what you do.
So thank you, Erin. I'm like, oh, this is really nice to be on something and hear people just say how nice you are. Thank you. I'm gonna play this on my phone periodically if I
give me a call if you need to hear more. It's the truth.
Erin's show.
It's the truth. And everybody that knows me knows I don't just say things just to say it. Like if I say it, I mean it.
Thank you.
So it's the New York in me. Like I'm not going to say it if I don't mean it, and I mean it about you.
You New Yorkers are very blunt.
Yes, but I'm also not going to go out of my way to be mean. I just won't say it, Right. But I want to get into your first, the Dream Maker, which is your high-end clients call you the Dream Maker. So how did that come about?
Well, I'm very humbled to be called that. So ended up what happening is I have this like knack that when people come to me and tell me what they want to do and what they desire, if I like them and I like what they're doing, I just fall in love with who they are and how they show up in the world. And I become like this mothering hen. I love them, and I can get behind their dreams and lift them for them even higher than they dream possible. My mind clicks in these weird ways where all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, if you're a speaker, or let's say you just have a book or a book idea, wait, you could speak here, you could teach that, we could create this course, you could do a mastermind here. And my brain just spider webs into all these other magical opportunities so that your voice and what you do can be shared with other people. I just believe that everybody has this wonderful gift, and I choose only a few people a year to work with that I just want the world to know who they are, and I want to make their dreams come true.
That's a God-given gift. Most people don't have the foresight, the insight and the foresight to see what somebody else is capable of, because they're so wrapped up or in tune just for themselves and what they need to do. And I believe also another gift from your childhood, through all the stuff that went on, is that it kind of forced you to have to see the foresight for other people.
Definitely.
That you did. And it built you, it's like the character building, you have to go through, to get to where you are now.
Yeah. And it seems even as an adult, it doesn't matter how well you do. We all have trying times and situations. I mean, look at COVID. That pretty much did it for everybody. They're like, reset.
Yeah. Level playing field.
Yeah.
And COVID was interesting for sure, for everybody on the planet. I remember when my parents, who, had the answer for everything for me and my sisters, like, why is this happening? It was always calming, And when they didn't have the answer for COVID, I was like, uh-oh. When my father was like, I've never seen anything like this, I was like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we have to brace ourselves. But that's when I go into solution. I don't go into worry. Worrying will never serve anybody. So when a situation happens that needs to be dealt with, we just want to stay focused on what's the solution here. And that's basically, I said to myself, what's the creative opportunity here? Everybody's saying the sky is falling. And, in New York, I think it was one of the first hot spots.
Yeah.
And it was like, the sky is falling. And I'm thinking, like, what's the creative opportunity here? What's a solution, to everything that's going on? Because worrying will never serves us.
I never expected that the things that happened and being distanced and separated from the people that I was closest to would force me to have this catalyst of change where I realized that while being the dream maker, I love that. And I celebrate that. I didn't realize that I stopped living my own.
Yes.
So it created for me that opportunity.
Isn't that amazing? And I think it did that, like you said, the reset for so many people in the world. It's not just in America, like so many people around the world. It gave them the opportunity to just slow down, and see what's going on and then ground themselves in their life. It's funny that you're the dream maker and the doctors call me the miracle maker, since the 90s. That's my thing, the miracle maker. Oh. But it's because with cancer in 1991, I kept defying the odds. Every time they told me I was going to die, I lived, and I went on to have 3 kids. And most people watching know I've told this story 1,000 times. Went on to have 3 kids that they swore would never happen. And they started having their patients, the doctors at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, started having their patients call me at home. And that's how I started coaching in the 90s. But, and they couldn't, anyway, they called me the miracle maker because not just for myself, but for their patients as well. But it's a beautiful thing when you could, take what you learned. And my point in telling you all of that is with COVID, I guess because of my history, like you, the death, the Grim Reaper showing up to me was not foreign. You know what I mean? So I knew, don't stay focused on that, because what we focus on expands. I knew I had to stay focused on the light, and the good and the positive things and the gratitude in order to get through it. So let's get back into your next question, which is, or your next talking point, RED, which is the acronym for success. So tell us what that means to you.
Yeah. So I wear red every day of my life. Erin, every time you see me, I'm wearing red.
Yes, I love it.
If you lived with me, every day you see me, I'm wearing red, including my bathing suits. I mean, so like no holes barred, I am living red. And living red is my hashtag now. And that's because I've made a decision to create a movement where I'm living red and encourage other people to do that. It stands for relevance, enthusiasm, and delivery. When you engage with people, human capital is one of the most valuable assets that we could ever hold. And we don't own it, we hold it, and we give and take of it, so that, the experience with other people. And that to me is so valuable. And so I want who I am and how I show up in the world to be relevant to the people who matter most to me. I want to live with great enthusiasm and excitement. So 2 E's there. and delivery. I want to be on top of things. I want to deliver what I say. I want to say what I mean and mean what I say. I want to live that in real and be authentic and honest. And if I can't, or I don't, or I hadn't, or I won't, I want to be honest about that. So that way I don't catch people off guard. I mean, I'm human. So I have, I have flaws. I flutter on things sometimes, sidestep. But if I can pull myself up and overcome that and make right and move forward and forgive myself and ask to be forgiven, then that's how I want to show up in the world. And that's the people I want to work with, who can be real.
Yes. And you and I talked about this before coming on. I said to you, with regard to the imposter syndrome, I really believe that if somebody's feeling the imposter syndrome, then they should just stop and work on that, because if you're feeling like an imposter, then how are you really going to serve somebody else in that space? And because if you're feeling like you're an imposter, then you are an imposter. You know what I mean? Like, and then all of a sudden you have to hide certain things, or you have to pretend to be a certain way.
Yeah.
But when you do exactly what you say, and you and I live our lives this way, where we do what we say, and if we make a mistake, we own it and we speak about it, and then we get past it, and move on from there. But the human experience is the same for everybody. It's hills and valleys, mistakes and failures and success, and failure is only failure if accepted as failure. And I love our mutual friend, Dan Clark, who I absolutely love, and he's a mutual friend of ours, and he's all about success to significance. Mm-hmm. And what you're speaking about is beyond success. You're speaking about being significant in this world. And that's the ultimate, because you could be successful financially, but your marriage is falling apart. You could have a successful family life, but your business is struggling, but there's different relevance with regard to success, but significance is significance, when you're significant in this world. Can you speak into that?
Yeah, I can speak in that even more so. I'm the executive director of the keepsmilingmovement.org. And that organization, we save lives with smiles by creating a dose of hope to be resilient no matter the challenge. We're a mental and dental health organization. And over the years, we've been collecting these stories. So we do multiple things, from referral for people to get help in all kinds of areas in their life, to financial help, to doing projects, to, helping support an event that I'm having right after this. I'm leading an event called the Leaders Amped for Change and Experience, the Leaders Amped for Change Experience. And the whole point of what we're doing is I even wrote a curriculum for the Keep Smiling movement. So now I can go to cities all over and take the founders with me as well. And that is that we can now teach them resiliency out of the box. And box stands for better outcomes exponentially.
Exponentially.
That word.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I couldn't get it out of my mouth. I'm like, maybe I should rethink of what I called my program. But that makes it more real than I can't even say it. Yeah. But what happens is that we want to teach people to constantly be thinking of, like, what's plan A, what's plan B, how can we do things. When you look at people in service, people in law enforcement, people in the military, they either have this innate ability, or they're taught it, and they think on their feet, and they make really difficult, hard decisions, a lot of risk with little information, but it's a skill that can be taught and learned. And I want to create that with the Keep Smiling movement, so that we're constantly giving people a dose of hope, that they understand that a smile, that's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. When you smile, you flood those neurotransmitters. And then hope, hold on, pain eases. It will ease. It'll get better.
Hold on, pain eases. I love that acronym. I've never heard that acronym for pain.
And we have another one for it. It's also hold on, pain ends. And I say it eases first, because my grandma died, and that was hard. So that's an ease.
Yes.
And it'll soften, and it'll eventually end.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Aw. It's beautiful with the work that you're doing. And your grandmother, I'm sure, is very proud of you.
Oh yeah. And how
Very
exciting.
proud.
53 and my grandma was 95, who gets to have that,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm
Wow.
very fortunate because all of my friends are like, you have, and my grandpa died 2 years ago, and they're like, you have grandparents, and I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, we had 5 generations.
Wow.
Amazing.
I was in my 20s when my grandparents passed away. I'm the oldest grandchild.
Yeah.
So I was in my 20s and I was heartbroken. I understand. I was very close. We used to have Sunday dinners at my grandparents every Sunday, the whole family. I don't know how my grandparents did it, but there was always a meat, a starch, and a vegetable, and then vanilla ice cream and Jello and Entenmann's cake for dessert. It was aunts, uncles, cousins, like all the families.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to have grandparents for as long as you have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure I'm very proud of you because the work that you've done is extraordinary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's keep talking about smiling, because again, with the pandemic going on, a lot of people are, confused, and there's a lot of chaos going on in people's minds and stuff. So they're walking around a lot of time like a robot, just constantly thinking about the what if or the other shoe dropping. And I would love, because you're the queen of this, to speak into how significant, even to force a smile, like you said, to increase all the hormones and stuff like that. And how significant is it that people force themselves, even if they can't bring themselves to smile right away, first thing in the morning, look in the mirror. I really believe in mirror talk, and just smile, and start the day like that. Can you speak into that?
Yeah. I didn't realize how powerful a smile was until I met people with no teeth, no money, who were freaking happy.
Yeah.
And that's because they lived in their life, in their moment. They were in gratitude. They were happy, and they knew their smile was not like to show off their teeth. Their smile was to show who they are on the inside out. And then all of a sudden I had a new appreciation for imperfect smiles. Your imperfect smile is perfect to me. And yet I still care about dental health, because we also now have learned so much more about how dental health affects your whole body. Yeah. And over this last 2 years during COVID, I found out I have some crazy weird bone infection that ate part of my jaw. So I'm actually missing a major portion of my jaw up in here, and am at risk of having to have a jaw transplant and all this crazy stuff. And it wasn't until that happened, and because of all of that, then I also lost a tooth down here, where all of a sudden now I understood what it was like to not have lost a tooth, have a jaw damage where I can't do an implant now. They don't even really want me to wear other things because they don't want me to mess with it or be having things in my mouth right now. And so it's been really interesting, and it could be very traumatic, but I've chose that I'm not going to be traumatic about it. I've taken it in stride, and I've had such a mindset to smile through it that I have no pain. I have no swelling or anything. I just know that it's, and I'm doing everything to create my mindset to manifest healing within myself, while I also am seeking, regular medical intervention. But it's made me even more passionate for other people who are having challenges. And now I know how much more important it is for us to help people have really good dental health. And then that also helps them with their mental health. So we've created an assessment. We have an app. The assessment's not on our app yet. It will be soon. So if you look online, you can look for the Keep Smiling movement, through your app research, and learn a little bit more about us. But our app will be called SPH. We want you to rate your SPH. What are your smiles per hour?
Oh, wow. There you go.
So our co-founder came up with that. The more you smile, the more it affects your brain. At first, it feels like a Band-Aid. If you're struggling, and sometimes just like a broken bone, a Band-Aid's not enough. Sometimes you need intervention. We understand that mental health is brain health. If you're feeling depressed or sad, you may need other intervention. Your neurotransmitters are not able to get at a level on their own to regulate you. And just like we don't shame people, oh, you're diabetic, I'm not talking to you because you're being moody because you're diabetic, or we don't, people who wreck a car because they had epilepsy, we don't go, I'm never speaking to you, you have epilepsy. Control your neurotransmitters. but yet we do
Right,
that.
no, we don't do that.
But we do that to people with mental health.
I know.
You should be regulating your
ridiculous.
mental hormones and your neuro. You can't. You
Right,
need
right.
an
You're so
intervention.
funny.
So we encourage intervention. We also encourage alternative health intervention. There's all different kinds of modalities. That's why all those things that you listed, I have like 13 different modalities. I'm 2 different biofeedback and neurofeedback degrees. And I've been speaking at the World Congress on Brain Mapping and Therapeutics the last couple of years on the science of smiles and what's happening to us and neurologically, what happens with those neural pathways when we smile and with the words that we choose and with the way that we say things. And it all affects our mental health, which affects our physical health, which affects how we integrate with people in the world and affect their health.
Yeah. And I really believe it all goes back to, how do you feel? Because feelings, really, it's so powerful. It's the thoughts, but like when you emotionalize the thought with the feeling, it just makes it that much more powerful. And it could be negative or it could be positive. Really quick, when I was going through the cancer, one of the things that the doctors didn't understand was smiling. Humor to me was a huge part of the cure. I would only put on like funny shows and listen to comedians and surround myself with positive people, and if they were funny, I loved it, but it was a lot of that, and staying in the present moment, like what you just said, in gratitude, looking in the mirror, and I didn't have any hair anywhere, like nothing, no eyelashes, no eyebrow, like nothing. But at 25 years old, so when I look in the mirror, I'd have to find like, I love your eyes. I had to find things that I could be grateful for as opposed to what I didn't have. Yeah. I had to stay focused on. So gratitude, it just gives you a reason to smile. You know what I mean? Like when people stay focused, because what we focus on expands, like Tony Robbins. I always say what we speak about, we bring about, so what we focus on expands. So we just want to make sure that we focus on what's right with our life, what we have to be grateful for in this present moment, because in the present moment, that's the only place we get to create from. We can't create anything from the past. We can't create anything from the future. We create everything from this present moment. So given a choice all day, every day, right? If we can create something positive or create something negative, why spend time thinking about the negative when the choice is one or the other? I'd rather spend time on the positive. Life is always hills and valleys. We're always going to have both. But through the whole thing, through the whole journey, what are we going to stay focused on? Even in the valley, there's tons to be grateful for. And it just makes the next mountain peak that much higher. Thank you so much for sharing all that, what you're going through with us. Also, I see you as an instrument of God. You know what I mean? Like, and he's allowing you to show the world, as an example of somebody who's, helping to run that foundation and everything else. Look at how I'm going through this. Like, it's not just that I'm talking about it, like I'm living it. I'm going to show you how to keep a smile on your face no matter what. And like you said, I've seen very wealthy people happy and miserable. And I've seen, indigent, people in poverty, happy and miserable. And I really believe it's all mindset, and what we do with our thoughts. So, all right, this time goes so fast with you. Your free gift. Let's talk about your free gift.
Oh, yeah. So I have 2 things for you. One of them is we have the 8-day publicity challenge. It's a series of videos, so 7 days and then a bonus that literally helps you kind of map out some things so that you can set yourself up for success, so that you're getting the word out there about yourself. And so that if you ever want to work with a publicist, you've kind of put yourself in alignment and made yourself easier to work with and set that bar well for yourself. And then also a checklist on what you might have available in your world so that you can get sponsors to support what you're doing. So for like our event here today, we had, everything from DJ sponsors to the rental car sponsor to hotel sponsors to, room spot, like we just created things. And we did this one last minute. This event 3 weeks ago was only an idea or a concept. So here we've pulled together this event where we have 8 speakers, and there's only one from the state. And I can say this today on here because it's not being aired yet, and he's not going to watch this in the next hour. But I'm having a surprise birthday party in the middle of our event for one of our speakers, who I actually am paying and hired him to be at this event, and then negotiated a speaking spot for him, which I was going to give him anyways. But I wanted, so that way he thought this is like somebody's event. He has no idea that there's a surprise party for him in the middle of this day. So.
Wow. Wow. How fun is that?
Yeah, it's super
How fun
fun.
is that? Oh my God.
Yeah. So it'll be really, really a really beautiful blessing, and we'll be able to really propel the Keep Smiling movement even more by doing that. Oh, by the way, that's Ken Rashawn, Dr. Smiley, that I'm talking about.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love
him. Yeah, well, it'll be. I'm really excited about doing that for him, and we'll be making his dreams come true after he's going to talk, and then I'm going to reveal that it's his birthday party.
Oh, it's
and then I'm going to, that's Ken's birthday. Yeah. On Friday. His birthday's Friday, but I figured it was early enough that he didn't realize what I was doing. And we're going to make his wishes come true today too. His dreams.
I love it. I love Ken. Yeah. Wow. Tell him I said happy birthday.
I will.
That's so cool that you're doing that. You guys you have a great partnership, the two of you. Mm-hmm. You know, you really do. And I loved being on your show, and I loved winning the Tub of Love at Greg's Secret Knock.
Greg, so adorable.
I get to work with you guys. That was so fun. I mean, who would have thought? $250,000 worth of products and services.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It was so fun. What a blessing.
Yeah. So, and speaking of Greg, part of the way that I've created this leadership, leader amp for change event experience is some rub off from Greg and how people engage and interact together. And I wanted that. So even though people will be presenting up front, the in between times, I want us together to be able with the audience in collaboration. We're just leading that with other leaders in the audience. We collaborate for positive global change. Today, we will literally change the world today. I know that it already is happening. I'm very excited about it.
Powerful. I love it. And you're a female entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And I love what you do for this world. And I love how you're also empowering other entrepreneurs and everybody, that you work with. But like I said before, I just am on fire to empower the female entrepreneur. And you're doing so amazingly well and making such a huge difference in this world, especially at this time, which is so significant. It's beautiful.
Thank you. So, I'm breathing right now because today I'll be officially announcing. So you get to be the first one who gets to hear it. I'm officially announcing my leap. So I'm going to be doing the Dream Maker tour. So so we'll still be, I'm going to do some more of these Leader Amp for Change events. We've already been asked to do one in San Diego and one in Las Vegas, and we haven't even had this one yet. So that's so cool that people want something that we haven't even had yet. And then I realize, and this is me and equal with everyone else. So I want to explain something. Why this was so important to me. The Leader Amped for Change experience. I wanted it to be a conglomerate of people brought together. So yes, it is my event. However, if you look at the event, it does not look like it's my event. In fact, I'm on the second line of circles on the left. In fact, I had someone say to me, they're like, "Oh, Andrea, congratulations. I see you got yourself on another panel." I'm like, thanks. But I did that on purpose, and we're starting our event with all of us lined up in front, equal power. I want equalness.
Yes.
And together we're going to come on singing with our hands raised, because it is the world together that leads this. I want that democracy within this room experience with all of us who lead, that we respect and elevate each other to the highest level. Yeah. That's what I wanted for this.
Yes, I love it. It's we, not me.
Yeah.
It's we.
And I'm giving me a chance too. So the Dream Maker event, the Dream Maker will be mine, and it'll be brought to you by the Red Carpet Connection.
Right. But you're doing it for the greater good of the we. You're not doing it because it's all about the Dr. Andrea show. Yeah. And watch Dr. Andrea, it's not about that. I know you.
I had to, at one point in my life, it had to be that way. I mean, I needed that. I showed up that way. And then I did all that, fancy poo-poo stuff and was on all these magazines and paid for all that and went everywhere. And then I decided I didn't need that anymore. I finally fell into my own where I'm comfortable with who I am and I don't have to have all the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it. I'm sure I love it.
An elephant. It's part of the human element.
But I realize it's time for me. I have all this conglomerate of information and I want a platform to share it. And I don't want to ask somebody else to give up their space and their time for their message. And I'm always grateful that they allow me to come on and share, whether I share, 45 minutes or 90 minutes or 20 minutes, that I'm grateful for their, just like you, I'm grateful for the space to share with you and your brilliance and your amazingness. And I also realize that what I ask of my clients is to give all of themselves and to do their own events and do their own thing. And why am I not leading by example? I used to do this.
Right.
I used to, but I started putting everybody else so much in front that I stopped doing it for me. And I thought, I'm not teaching self-care. I have to do that. It's time. It's not even a question. I must
lead by example. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited. And I'm so happy that the world is open again to where we can have the in-person events. I was doing workshops and seminars and stuff before COVID, but ever since COVID happened, so now the first one I'm hoping, in October to be able to get the space that I'm looking for. I'm hoping to do it at the Garden City Country Club and just have Life on Track and in-person events, just like, maybe 4 or 5 hours. There.
And I'm giggling. I'm like, don't do it the 7th, 8th, and 9th. I have 4 events that same weekend. And already, so I'm going to 2 of them. The third one I'm helping, but I'm not physically can't be there. And the other one, I just told him, I said, oh, thank you for inviting me. No way. There's nothing I can do for you there. My bandwidth is taken.
What about I'll do it at the end of October.
The rest of the month is good.
Okay, perfect.
Oh my God. So if I'm invited, it cannot be the 4th, the 5th, or the 4th through the 8th is out.
Okay, you got it. I haven't decided the day yet, so I'm looking for October. Looking for the Garden City Country Club. So I'll do it at the end of October now. I love you. All right. So how can people? All right, they can get to you through the redcarpetconnection.com.
Yep.
Right, and they can also check out the keepsmilingmovement.com.
Yeah, you can say .com or .org. They both go to us. So both are perfect.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Yep.
Okay. And then your email is Andrea Adams-Miller. Yes. Yep. At the redcarpetconnection.com. You are so cool. You are so good. I can't wait to see you again.
Yeah. Well, let's do something.
Yes. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for doing what you do and really helping people get their life on track.
I love it. I thank you. I love it. And it's going to go out to Amazon Prime and Amazon Fire and Apple TV and Roku and all that online streaming TV show. And I just started my own YouTube channel back in February. So for everybody watching, make sure you go and hit subscribe for the YouTube. And this is all like this whole technology thing is all new to me and I absolutely love it. I love it. It's so fun. It's so fun to be able to get our message out into the world the way we are. So thank you so much, Dr. Andrea. I love you. You're the best.
Erin. Thank you so much. Blessed to know you.
Blessed to know you too. Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a magnificent day. And always remember to live onward and upward. Love you.